So today we have the awesome Becka Bradshaw. Becka is a super passionate, very creative, very inspiring hairdresser. She has been a Redken exchange facilitator, and her focus is on design and finishing. She also has a barber license in addition to her cosmetology license, but she really aims to arm her students with new tools and techniques to better approach the challenges. And really, she just wants to leave you very inspired. And today, she's showing us a haircut that is really super hot. So please welcome Becka Bradshaw.
Hey, good morning, Andrew. Good morning, everyone. I'm so excited to be here and to be showing what I think is going to be the hottest look of 2022. This is not a bob, not a pixie. It is a
Bixie.
Bixie. So I have had so many of my guests asking me what's new, what's hot, what's going on right now. And you're seeing these super layered, very, very short layered cuts that are somewhere in between a bob and a pixie. So I just wanted to kind of show off our finished look before we get right into it. So the Bixie, if you have heard of the Bixie, go ahead and give me a yes in the chat. If this is your first time hearing about the Bixie, give me a first time here in the chat because we're going to get right into it. So this is something that's very versatile too. We're seeing that a lot of guests are starting to part in the middle, but it can also be parted over here to the side and be worn side swept. So they have a little bit more of a traditional bob type look. All right, I'm seeing a lot of first times that are here in the chat. So we have just this little mashup of a pixie and a bob here, which is where the word Bixie comes from. Now, if we're going to really look at like how this was inspired, I'm going to say that we want to look back to the 1990s. How many years ago was that now? We're looking at the 1990s Bixie here with characters like Winona Ryder that definitely had this haircut. And then one of my personal favorites, Carrie Ann Moss, Trinity from The Matrix, right? She had this haircut. So Claudia, I see that you're like, I call it a long shortcut. That's kind of where I am as well. I think in the 90s, we just called it short hair, but everybody from Meg Ryan, Winona Ryder, everybody had this haircut. And so it was kind of cute. You could kind of ruffle it around in the back or kind of like kick it up a little bit if you needed to. So we are going to arm you with all of these tools so that you can go in and you can create this for your guests every single day in the salon. I see, Michelle, you said you already did this cut in the 90s. Excellent. Well, let's just get a little refresher today and we're going to get started. So what we want to do first is we want to work with parting down our haircut. Now, I'm going to already have this haircut part down for you so we can get our hands in hair right away. And we are going to show you how to part that hair really quickly. It's going to be in horizontal breakdown. So if you have the ability, go ahead and take a screenshot, take a little shot of the screen right now, and we can show you where the partings are. So the first thing that you're going to do is that you're going to be able to part off a fringe area. You want to make that nice and deep and see what it is that the guest wants to kind of wear in front of their face. Then you're going to take and you're going to part off the crown area here. You're going to take one of those more traditional horseshoe shaped partings. You can take it a little lower for those guests that really want to see that movement up in the top of their hair. Then you'll have the side partings that'll be right at the top of the ear, the back parting, and the nape parting, which you see right there. So Shirley, I love this cut too. We're going to start out in the back for you all. And we're going to be doing a lot of razor work today. So because we're doing razor work, we need to come in there and we need to make sure that we get this area that we're working with nice and damp. So when we work with a razor, what are the rules for working with a razor? Somebody, if you know a hot tip for working with a razor, go ahead and put it in the chat. We'll fill it in with you as you're putting it in the chat. So when we're working with a razor, we definitely want to be working with damp hair, right? Another hot tip with a razor, we want to make sure that we're working with product. So I've got my little handy dandy bottle of One United right here. See the One United? Yeah, and we're gonna be making sure that we mist this through the hair. So the razor has something to kind of bump up against at this point. So if the razor has something to kind of bump up against, we are going to be able to have that razor just glide through the hair. Okay, Lisa. Okay, Michelle, I see you. We definitely want to be working with a razor that is not dull. So we want to be using a fresh blade razor every single time. And right here, we've got our CMVia swivel razor. Yeah, so we have a clean, sharp blade that we put in here. This is our straight blade razor with a guard. So I want to let you all know, first of all, if you have a razor, go ahead and do me a favor. Don't be scared of it. It is guarded. So it's guarded at this point, which means that it's going to be safe for you to use it, for you to lock a finger angle in there and just keep working with it. All right. Great job for those of you taking screenshots. We're going to be moving right through this nape area and this haircut right now. So what we're going to want to do is we're going to work one side first and then the other side. And we are going to work in diagonal forward sections at this point. So diagonal forward sections, that means that we're going to be working from the center out towards the side. So from the center out towards the side is where we're going to be working with this. And we are just going to change this plain old bob into a beautiful Bixie at this point. So our elevation is going to be 90 degrees. We're going to elevate the hair up and out. And then we are going to come in behind our finger and we are going to be working from the inside out with a medium stroke with that razor right here in the nape area. So on each side, go ahead and think about this. You're only going to want to take like 3 to 4 partings on each side. So it will work pretty quickly. It's going to move really, really fast. Shirley, I love it. You're like, I love to razor a mannequin because if I like have a learning opportunity or a mistake on the mannequin, it's no big deal, right? So as we elevate to 90 degrees, we're going to wait for that bottom to drop out. Now we're going to come back in with our razor and we are going to work from the inside out in those diagonal forward sections. So a diagonal forward section is a great thing if you want the hair to kind of push forward. So what we do is we want the hair to push forward here. So we're working with these diagonal forward sections. So we're only going to do 3 to 4 sections per side. And we're going to be elevating the hair to 90 degrees. If you can see right here, you can see the guide as it starts to drop out. So with a razor, you want to slide past that guide. You want to slide past the guide and you can come in and you can go ahead and work with that razor in a medium stroke. Now I see that we've got a question from Cynthia, and Cynthia is asking, do I want to razor all hair types for this cut? That's a great question, Cynthia. So there are going to be hair types that you don't want to work with a razor with. We actually have a video on the shear cut shag because there are some hair types that are just not able to handle a razor. So you will need to be able to put in some shear work and some really deep point cuts for that. So if you're working with a shear, that is a beautiful thing as well, but you want to be working just a little bit more loosely than what you would work normally when you do a precision haircut. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to start on the right side, not the left side, the right side. And we are going to take the hair from that diagonal forward section and we're going to move the rest of it up and out of the way. So see that diagonal line? We've got a diagonal forward section here. So we want to elevate this hair at the nape in order to make it softer for us. So we elevate the hair, we come in with the razor, and we're able to work it back to front to have that hair push towards the front. So what you're noticing is this perimeter area is getting like nice and soft, right? So that's what we want to see as we're working through this with the Bixie. So we're not seeing it being so coiffed. It's not going to be as much like a bob. So if there are some of your guests already that you're thinking, wow, they've always been asking me like, what's next? What's new? I'm ready to kind of move my bob into something a little bit more layered. This might be the cut for them. So as we come in here towards the nape, we're going to scoop up, wait for that guide to drop out. So remember, we wait for the guide to drop out when we're using a razor. Everybody say drop out if you are ready to wait for that guide to drop out. That's right. Now we just come in from the top. And I'm going to show you really quickly how it is that I'm holding the razor today. So take a look. I've got my ring finger into that little space, that little ring that holds it, and I've got my pinky finger into this other space. Sometimes we even can put our pinky in this little hole, and we will use the rest of our fingers to move this razor around. So think about this, friends. As we're using the razor, we need to have control. We need to have control while we're using the razor. The closer that our fingers are to the end of the razor, the less control we have. So even with a barber razor, if I was a barber, I'd be holding my first two fingers right like this, very close to the razor. But Sam has given us this beautiful razor that we can stabilize our fingers in, so we can use the razor and swivel it at any degree that it needs to be without harming our wrist. So ready? Last little piece of the nape right here. I see, Cynthia, you're like, this is the unicorn bob. This is the fun bob, right? This isn't your mother's bob. I mean, maybe it is. I often have to think about those women who are wanting this cut that wore it once before. I think that's kind of the cool thing about this is if they've worn it once before, like let them have it again. They know that they loved it. They know that it worked out great on them. So Carrie Ann Moss is actually wearing this haircut again 20 years, 30 years later. The 90s are always going to seem like they were 20 years ago. All right, so take a look at this silhouette, friends. Take a look at the silhouette. Do you see, is it more collapsed or less collapsed than it was before? That's right. We've definitely got it like a little bit more collapsed than it was before. And if we need to remove any more weight from the corners, we can come in and we can just do a little surface cutting. That means my razor is going to rest right on the surface of the hair, and I can just move out a little bit of these pieces so that it kind of hugs the neck at this point. Yes, that's right, Delia. It is more collapsed. It is more collapsed, Anna. We're going to move it over around to the other side, and we can go ahead and we can take that, and we can just use a little surface cutting like this with the razor to collapse that to the nape of the neck. Now, you have the opportunity now to go in, and you have the opportunity to come in and clean up this neckline if you want it to sit even a little bit more clean. There are some of our guests that are definitely going to want it more clean, but for today, for Erica, we're going to leave it a little bit more shaggy. It's going to be a little bit fun to have it a little bit more shaggy. Are you ready? That was the nape area. We are all ready to move on to the back area. So again, if you need to take a screenshot, we're going to give you this opportunity to take this screenshot. That was step 1 that we just completed, and we are about ready to go into step 2. So as you can see, my guest here, Erica, today, she already had a bob, but we're ready to kind of move through this bob and make it a little bit more fun, a little bit more edgy, put that pixie part into her bob. So as we come through here, we're going to go ahead and mist down our next area. And then of course we can't forget, we need to make sure that we're using our product through the area as well. So we'll come in and we will mist some product through that area. Here's a hot tip. there is no problem with using a lot of product. The product has to touch and meet each individual hair strand to give us that like beautiful effect that the product is going to have. So we need to make sure that we're using enough product to coat the hair strand there. And one of the things that we love about One United is it's super lightweight and it can be used for all hair types. So if we're going in there and we're using One United, it's perfect for those people that have a little bit of a wave, a little bit of a curl pattern. It's not too heavy for fine hair. And we're going to come through here and we're going to cut the next area. So the first thing that we want to do here is we want to establish a perimeter line. So the perimeter line is the line that runs straight across here on this haircut. So a lot of times as we're coming through here, we are always wanting to blend up and blend up and blend up. So this is going to be equal parts Bob and Pixie, remember? So the first thing that we're going to do with these Bixies is we're going to establish the perimeter line first. So this will not be connected. Everybody say, it's okay. It's not connected. Type it in the chat. Say, it's okay. It's not connected. So what we want to do is we want to come in here and we want to make the back area the same length as the nape area that's underneath it. So we are going to hold it down with a little bit of tension and start to work through that perimeter line with our razor just to soften it up a little bit. So we want it to be the same length as the nape. I love it, Myra. You're like, it's okay, it's not connected. Some of us need to tell ourselves this, that it's okay, it's not connected, because a lot of times we have compulsive blenders in the house. We need to match everything and make sure it blends. Here's the secret. Listen to me. Come here. It only has to visually blend. That's right, Nicole. This connection's fun. Oh, hey, good morning, Ashley. Thanks. Ashley says that my hair is looking good today. All right, so we're working all the way around on this bob, and we are working from center out to the side, and we are just softening up that bob so that it can become a Bixie. Awesome, Jamie. I see you. You're saying it's ready. It's ready to be not connected. Because look, here's what's going to happen. This is pretty short underneath. It's pretty short. So we don't want this whole thing to be short. We want it to have enough movement so it can move around. So once we've established this perimeter length, we're ready to layer this back area. All right, so we're going to layer this back area because even though we're working within horizontal breakdown, we know that there is a vertical breakdown in between it. If you can visualize for me where the 4 quadrants are, you're going to divide those 4 quadrants. In the back, those 2 quadrants get divided into 2. So there will be 4 total quadrants. Here's a great hot tip for those of you who like to section out your work but like to be a little bit quicker. You can go ahead and give yourself this little twist wherever it is that you want to section it out if the hair is damp. And if the hair is damp, this little twist that happens right here almost acts as a wet clip. Isn't that cool? We've got a little wet clip action going on, and you can see your 4 sections are all twisted up and ready. So how many sections in the back? Type it in the chat. All right. Excellent. 4 sections. Okay, friends, I am going to show this on half of the head with a razor, and then I'm going to show it on the other half with a shear, just so those of you who need to use a shear on your guest know what it's going to look like. If you're ready, say ready. All right. We're going to start in the little section that is just to the left of center back. So we've got center back right here. We are going to elevate. I'm going to give our guests a little room here so we can show you the elevation. Awesome. Ruth, I love it that you're ready. I have a sister named Ruth. I love that name. Jamie's ready. Katie's ready. I am so excited. All right. So this is the first time in this haircut we're going to use a little bit of over direction. So we're going to over direct it slightly back so that it pushes slightly forward. We are going to elevate. We're at the horizontal 90 right now. We're going to elevate above the horizontal 90 to scoop this hair out. We are going to use our little piece of hair at the very bottom, the perimeter piece, as our guide, and we are going to elevate it to 45 above the horizontal 90, and then we're going to let that guide drop out and come in with our razor and just use that medium stroke. Take a look. If you need to adjust your fingers with the razor, this is the easiest way that you're going to do it. You're going to hold the hair. You're going to come in over the top, grab the hair again, and then readjust your finger. Slide back out. All right, medium razor stroke there. It's allowing us to take texture and length at the very same time. Awesome. So that is one compressed section there with the razor. We're just going to comb it and drop it back into place. It's already gliding forward for us. Now we're going to take our next section. We are going to elevate it above the horizontal 90. And then we are going to over direct it slightly back. So there's the elevation. There's the over direction is slightly back. And then our finger angle remains even with the guide from the very perimeter. So once that guide drops out with the razor, we want the guide to drop out, remember? Then we'll come back in with that razor. All right, if you're ready to readjust, come in over the top, come in through the bottom, and you've got your readjustment already. Top, bottom, come in already. This is a great exercise for you if you are the person that razor cuts as you're walking away. If that's you, say that's me. All right, I know I've seen it happen. I've seen it happen. There's nothing wrong with that. But if we want to have a really structured shape in there, we have to lock our finger angle and our finger position in. So as you can see, we're starting to get a little bit of nice pieciness through here. We've got even a little bit of this hair that's swinging forward. Oh, they're looking so cute. All right. So you know what I'm talking about. If you're the person that razors and you're continually like walking away, like your hands are scared of your razor, we want to make sure that we lock our finger angle and lock our finger position in so we get the results that we want. And then we can bump right up against that finger with this guarded razor. So that's the great thing about it. It is guarded. It's a great razor to learn with. All right. If you're ready to see it with shears, give me a shear emoji or say shears in the chat, and we'll bring some shears on for you. So we have our little streamline shear. This is a perfect, lightweight, beautiful shear for working with these short haircuts. I love a large shear. So normally I'm a barber. I love to work with a long shear. But there are going to be areas where you need a little streamline shear. So I love the Streamline Series shear because it's so lightweight and it's so molded. Like if you are a person that has smaller hands and you like a smaller shear, this is a perfect shear for you. Your fingers will just fit beautifully in there. Awesome. So Kelly, I love your question. You're asking what's the difference in between razor cutting and shear cutting? So that's a great question. The razor tends to bevel the hair edge just a little bit. So each and every piece of that hair is going to be cut if you can imagine how a pencil is sharpened. So it has a little point to it. The shear actually cuts each individual hair blunt, but you'll have to go in a little bit more with the point cut. So I could definitely go on and on and on about the benefits of razor cutting, but one of the major benefits of razor cutting is that you're able to take length and texture at the very same time. So we're going to come in, we're going to show this side, and we're going to show this side with a shear. So you already know we have to take that section, we need to elevate it. We need to elevate that section past the horizontal 90. We wait and we look for our guide. Now our guide is going to be right here at the perimeter. And now we can come in with a really deep point cut. And we can go ahead and remove that length. So if we want to remove even more weight, we might want to come in, and we might want to come in with a blending shear right behind that. So that blending shear will allow us to move more weight around. So we've got tried and true favorite, the reversible blender. We'll come in there and we'll just remove, tap it once, tap it twice, and that's all we need to do. So Claudia, you're saying that you prefer to use shears. I completely understand. I love to use shears as well, but we have different tools in our toolbox that do different things. So as we are growing, it's really important to see what those different tools are capable of. You might find that you have some guess that it just looks beautiful and it looks better with a razor. So we are going to come in with our last section for our shears. We are going to elevate to the horizontal 90 and then past that to 45 above the horizontal 90. Check out my finger position. It is vertical. So we're compressing these sections vertically to give it that nice lean effect is what we're doing here. The guide is on the bottom and we can come in and we can just point cut. Ooh, that streamlined shear, so beautiful. I really recommend that if you love a beautiful lightweight shear, that you go ahead and you get that and put that in your toolbox. It is so great for cleaning up around little areas too, like necklines around the ear. All right, we're gonna come in there with that very last section and we're gonna use our blending shear, same elevation. Oh, Shirley, I love it. You're thinking out of the box already. That's what we love to see. So could you use the blending shears to take length and create texture? Absolutely. You would want to make sure that you are moving the blending shear at different spots if that's what you are wanting to do. And then that would kind of give a razored effect as well. So take a look. We're going to show you the two sides right here. The razored side over here on the left tends to have that very like shattered, a little bit more like distressed look. The side that we are using the shear and the blending shear on tends to be a little bit more smooth. So in some environments, it will be better for you to use a shear. So you could absolutely come in after the fact and do a little detailing with the razor. So I love it, Dawn. You're saying, are you just over directing to the parting line of the back corner? That's exactly what I'm doing. We're just slightly over directing. In Redken language, we call that over directing to the point of reference. So that point of reference is your parting line, and that is where you are over directing to. So at this point in time, we are just going to come in and we're going to detail this little corner here. Here's a great hot tip. Sometimes you don't have to hold the hair in between your fingers when you're cutting with a razor. Sometimes you're able to just take your two fingers and pinch the piece of hair. So everybody take up your thumb and your pointer finger like you're going to pinch something and just act like you're pinching a little point of hair. So we're going to come in, we're going to pinch a point of hair and we're going to just come in and detail that area just a tiny bit with the razor. Come in and pinch a point of hair. Take a look at how nice that is sitting. Ooh, we love a little razor detailing action. Awesome. Oh, I love to show those examples on a mannequin, on a doll head. I'm just so grateful for our friends over at Pivot Point that produce these for us because some of my best learning experiences have happened with these mannequin heads. So here we go. This is what we're looking at. We're looking at some hair that we can definitely have it movable and moldable now, but it will flick up. It will be a little bit like messy and cute, like the Bixie. is supposed to be, but it can also be worn sleek and slicked down if you want something a little bit like edgier and very like runway ready. Nicole, I love it. So you call this technique towing. I understand why you call it towing. So here's another great thing about the razor. This part closer to you is called the heel, and this part right here is called the toe. So you are working just with the toe of the razor when you're coming into detail like that. Awesome. I'm going to credit you, Nicole, the next time I call that towing, and then after that, it just belongs to us. I'm just going to say towing. Awesome. Shirley is ready to give this haircut to their sister. So exciting. Awesome. So if you're learning something so far, type what you're learning in the chat. Let us know that we're doing our job because we're about to move on to the sides right now. All right, friend. We are going to mist your sides down. We are going to remove those clips. Do you see how parting this out in advance saves us so much time in the salon? So I think that sometimes we try to tell ourselves stories. Would you agree? So sometimes we tell ourselves these stories, and one of the stories that we tell ourselves is, if I part out the hair in the beginning, it's just going to slow me down. Well, like so many stories that we tell ourselves, that is not true. It actually makes us faster if we part out the hair in the beginning. All right, look at this. What is happening right here? I think that this is like ready to go. She ready to have some fun with that, have it be a lot more edgy, a lot more beautiful. Awesome. Shirley's learning how to create the movement between the razor and the shears. All right. So we're going to come in here and we're going to get rid of this. How many of you have guessed that you cut a bob on them and it already looks something like this? It pops up in the back and then they've got these long pieces on the front. And they call them like earmuffs or like dog ears, right? So here's going to be a great way to move this hair around and give them these beautiful face framing pieces. So we are going to take these sides and they're going to happen quick. So make sure that you pay attention. All right. If you are ready to move on with this and move on with the razor, like let me know because it's going to happen fast. All right, we're just going to adjust our clip in the front so that we've got the hair out of the way and you can see what's going on. All right. Ruth is learning about versatility with tools. All right, Shirley's ready. We're all ready. We're ready to move on. Nicole's ready. Perfect. So, do you know that sometimes we use a piece of hair as a reference point? We don't necessarily use it as a guide. We use it as a reference point to see how long or how short we should be cutting something. So this hair right here is going to be used as our reference point. This hair is at the top of our last section in the back. And we're going to kind of judge how long it is right now. We're going to use our thumb as a good indicator, that first joint of our thumb. We're going to go in, we're going to go 1 inch, 2 inch, 3 inches. So that's about 3 inches that we have, 3. So we're going to use about a 3-inch piece, 1, 2, 3, right here. And we're going to use that as our guide. So we're going to cut that on both sides with the razor so that we have a beautiful guide. And this is where it starts to get a little short again. These are going to be beautiful for this guest. Now, the only guest that I would leave it a little longer than 3 inches is if you have a guest that has really super high density of hair. You're going to want to leave that at like maybe 4 inches if your guest has super high density of hair. And that is because the shorter that you cut high density hair, the more it sticks out. So you need to have almost that 4 inches to come all the way around. So here is your guide that you created from a reference point in the back. If you're good, say good. Let me know. All right. We're ready to try this haircut already. So this is step 3 of the Bixie. We are going to be doing these sides. Our elevation now is going to move back to that horizontal 90. So our elevation is going to move to the horizontal 90. We're going to say that you can screenshot this. If you have a chance, we'll put it up again in a moment. And what we'll do is we will just move her all the way around, get her tightened up. There we go. And we're going to take all of this hair and we're going to over direct it so that we can stand corner front. So we're going to stand corner front with this. And remember, we have the guide that we just cut to know where this hair lives. So all of this hair is getting over directed to corner front. That's right by her eyeball, right there in the front. So you can stand right in front of it. You will go ahead and lock your fingers in, wait until your guide slides out, and then you're going to come in and start to peel away that hair. So you can peel away that hair from the top. You can have a little bit of it that you peel away towards the front horizontally and vertically. You can work with the razor both ways. So take a look. That's one section, compressed cutting, that we've done with the razor. And it just molds that hair right to the face. So right to the face is where that hair is molded. We're just going to grab our little piece here in the corner and maybe do a tiny bit of detailing, but we don't want to do much because at this point, we might want it to kind of have a similar length to a bob. So if we can see what we've done here, we've just made it a little bit shorter towards the front, longer towards the back. And look at how nice and loose that is. Because this hair was over directed forward, it's going to swish back so easily, and they can wear it tucked behind their ear if they prefer to. Ooh, look at how cute. It's just this like ultra easy, ultra beautiful little cut that we're doing right here. So see the difference side to side, one section. All right. We're going to get ready and we're going to go ahead and we're going to do the other side. So it's going to happen one more time very quickly. There is our guide right there. Now remember, we are going to elevate that hair. We're going to elevate the hair to that horizontal 90. So comb everything until it is in a horizontal line towards the front. That's what we want to give you. We want to give you something simple that has a great impact right here. So we're using our principles. We're using over direction. We're using elevation, and we're using finger angle right here in order to create this look. So we're going to slide just past the guide as we come in here. And then we're going to come in with our razor, and we're going to be using that medium stroke. Remember, we can turn the razor to the side if we need to. Look, we'll just readjust. And we'll continue. And we'll readjust. At the very end, all we need to do right here is grab onto that little piece of hair. And there we go. We've just taken that hair in one compressed section and moved it until it is now a Bixie cut. So we're going to come in here. We'll do just a little bit of minor detailing. I have seen a lot of these Bixie cuts that will go even shorter in the sides. So you can absolutely use these same principles and take this hair even shorter if your guest's hair will allow for it. It's great on fine hair to create these little pieces on the sides that almost live like sideburns. So we're just going to check a little balance side to side. It looks like we need to take just a little bit more length right here. Awesome. Don is asking, do we keep all of our strokes past our 3-inch guide or do we vary on both sides? So what we want to do, Don, as we're moving like past that 3-inch guide, we're moving past that guide so we give ourselves enough room to have a medium stroke with the razor. So when we have a medium stroke with the razor, think about this. You're almost like bouncing from your elbow as you're coming up and down and moving the razor. So instead of keeping a really short stroke, you're sliding past that 3-inch guide so you can go to the 3-inch and come in and out a little bit. So there may be some pieces in there that end up a little bit shorter than 3 inches. There may be some pieces in there that end up a little bit longer than 3 inches, but it still remains within that range. So look at that nice movement that you're getting right there. All right, friends, we need to get this Bixie finished up. If you are ready to move on, give me a sign in the chat. Let me know that you're ready to move on with this Bixie. All right. So we're going to go ahead. We're going to take that fringe section. We're going to clip it back out of the way so that we can work in through the crown right now. All right. We look like we're ready. I'm so excited to see so many people from so many different states on today. It looks like we have people joining us from all over the United States and then even outside of the US. Thank you so much for joining us. We want to make sure that you are ready to cut this shape when your salon guests come in and they're asking you for it. Now, the biggest thing that we do want to make sure about as we're cutting the Bixie on people is that we are asking for photos. When we're cutting the Bixie, there are going to be some people that prefer to have a longer back than this. There are going to be some people that prefer to have it shorter in the front than some of those pictures. So it is a lot going to depend on the consultation, but these are steps and breakdowns that you can follow and then adjust the cut as needed. So take a look. We have just dropped that last little area right there. We're going to come in again with our One United. We're going to spritz the One United. A decent amount of it, remember, so that that razor has something to bump up against. For this little last part, for those of you who have taken that screenshot, you'll notice that we're going to be using our pivotal partings. So we're going to be using our pivotal partings, right? We want to make sure that we start center back. I'm going to show you right here. We're going to start center back, and then we're going to start to move with these diagonal forward lines first, and they're going to rotate until they come all the way forward in the opposite direction. So I love it. Got people from Trinidad and Tobago. The Bixie, Kelly, the reason we call it Bixie is because it has equal parts bob and pixie. It's somehow both haircuts, and it's neither haircut at the same time. Austria, very nice. Claudia is visiting us from Austria today. And you know what, Claudia, there is nothing worse than some limp hair. We like the hair to move around. We like the hair to do things. And we definitely are ready to see some things that are a little less coiffed than they used to be in the past. So this is going to be really easy when you come in here. I'm going to stand slightly to the back of it so you can see my elevation right now. And I'm going to move my body so that I am out of the way. And then I'm going to continue to move Erica around as we're cutting this. All right. So remember what we talked about, like a reference point earlier? This hair from underneath is going to be our reference point. It is not necessarily a guide, but it is hair that we will be like, okay, I want to leave it within this shortness. So if your guest wants to leave it a little bit longer than that, there's no problem with it. But today, we have a doll, so we might as well be a little edgy. Take a little risk, right? So we're going to come in with our razor. Here's what's important. When we're cutting with a razor on the top of the head, we're going to be coming in from underneath and working our way up. So the razor blade needs to point up. If you want to, at this point in time, you can lock your finger in with the swivel razor so you know that you've got everything locked in. So we're going to come in, we're going to take our first section. As always, with the razor, we are going to slide past our guide. We're going to come in and we are going to be working from the top out. So we're going to be coming in and working from the top out. All right. Some of these layers are really short and sassy. It's so much fun. Look. All right. As we're coming in, now we need to remember to pivot. Everybody say pivot in the chat. So as we pivot through this, we are taking these pivotal partings and we are going to take our judgment of how much the length should be from underneath. So as we come through, we're going to elevate. We're going to be straight up at the vertical 90 at this point. Wait for those hairs to slide out, and we can still use that medium stroke with our razor. and come in, and we can move through it. It is not going to be much more than 4 or 5 sections for somebody with Erica's density right here. So see, our guide is right here. Wait until it drops out. That's right, we're ready to pivot. You already know, I love a pivotal parting. But every time in my head, I'm always hearing Ross from Friends screaming, pivot! Ah, there we go. One last pivot. We're gonna elevate straight up. We're gonna be using the hair from underneath as sort of our guide. And we are going to be using pivotal partings. All right, we're gonna give you an opportunity for a screenshot again right now so you can see the partings that we're using on the top of this Bixie. So this Bixie is going to be having pivotal partings from the center back, and it's going to pivot all the way around to the front. We have that all lined up for you on our head forms so you can see exactly what's happening. Look at how amazing. All right, so we've worked from the center back towards the front on the left side. We're going to work from the center back to the front on the right side, and then we will cut the fringe. So if you are excited to try something like this on a guest of yours, let me know in the chat. If you have a question, let us know in the chat. We're here to answer all of your questions as we're cutting this Bixie cut today. So this is definitely one of the areas of this Bixie cut that is going to be more inspired by a Pixie than a bob. These are short, rounded layers that are happening up here at the top. They're rounded because of those pivotal partings that we're using, and they kind of slide and hug to the head. Excellent job. So we are elevating all the way up here to that vertical position. We're letting our guide drop out, and we are coming in from the top to the bottom. Here's a fun little thing too. If you're wishing to take this haircut and give it even more volume on the top, you could cut it from the underneath and go all the way up. That would give it a little bit more of a bubble or some roundness on the top there. Oh, hey, Nicole, it's nice to see you. Yes, Donna, you could absolutely use a point cutting technique if the client doesn't want the razor. So here's a hot tip for you. If you have a guest that you think that their hair might work out with a razor, it's a great idea to start that razor in the nape area of their head. You would talk to them. You would say something to them like, hey, I think that your hair would look great with a razor cut, but I'd love to try it out on you first. So if we could try it out in the nape area and see how that hair responds, maybe we could move it into more of your hair next time. So yes. Okay. So Shirley, you're asking me about cowlicks. Cowlicks are something that I am really in love with a cowlick. I think that it gives us the opportunity to have volume in the top of their hair. And I don't worry about cowlicks too much when I'm cutting this type of a shape because I usually encourage them to style their hair forward in the first couple of weeks of cutting it, and it will spin out from the cowlick. So let's show you what I'm talking about real quick. Okay, we can see it. There we go. All right. So see, Erica's got a little bit of a cowlick. I'll activate it real quick. So see how we can activate that cowlick and kind of spin it out and spin it from the top forward? So if we're styling the hair forward and we cut it short, it allows that hair to kind of pop up and be really fun and cute and sassy. I actually prefer the hair styled forward because to me it feels a little bit more modern than trying to style all of this hair back. So if you are wishing to style the hair back or the guest is wishing to style the hair back, go ahead and leave that a little bit longer in through that cowlick area until we can talk them into loving their cowlicks as much as I do, right? All right, friends. We are down to the very last piece. That last piece of our haircut, the fringe piece of our haircut. So let's share something with you that we're all excited about these days. And that's going to be a curtain fringe, right? So how great is it to be able to have this little Bixie and wear a curtain fringe with it? It's going to make it look so much more modern than parting it over to the side, like with a deep side part. We still love the deep side part, so they have the ability to wear this versatilely. And look at how much we love like these little kicks that are happening already from our razor cutting. That's beautiful. All right. So if we need to keep our area here clean, what we'll do is we'll take our dry cutting clips and we'll just slide them in so that they're telling us kind of like, okay, Becca, you're done cutting that area. Don't mess with it. And so you're just using the fringe area, and Andrew has put your screenshot up on the screen so that you can cut the Bixie fringe here. Now, this is going to happen quite quickly because what we need to do is we need to just make sure that we've got enough product through it. And we're going to show it in two sections. So if we go into two sections. We're going to split it right down the center. And it's going to happen so quickly and so easily right here with our razor. So what we'll do is we will elevate that hair. We're going to elevate that hair above the horizontal 90 again. I'm going to step back right here so you can see. So we're going to be above the horizontal 90. Let's get a quick guide in there. I've cut these curtain fringe a couple times, so I know how to judge it. But for those of us who are brand new, let's get a quick guide in there. We'll take that guide to about the nose, right? So we'll take the guide to the nose. We'll come in with our razor and we'll make a really nice soft guide at the nose, not too much tension so that hair doesn't pop up too much. So there's our guide. And coming back, here is our elevation. So everybody say elevate to the 45 above the horizontal 90. We'll swing in our guide. And then remember, we slide past the guide just a tiny bit. And at this point in time, our finger angle is going to be shorter at the top and longer towards the bottom. That's going to give us a little bit of area to move about there. And Karen is asking about softening the perimeter by over directing the parting from the beginning of the cut. I think what we're talking about is the perimeter and the back, Karen. Can you just clarify for me while I go ahead and finish this fringe? So we're going to go ahead, elevate. We're coming in here and we're using that medium stroke. And that is right there, 1/2 of your cutie little curtain fringe. It's ready to go. So we're going to do the other side really quickly. We're going to use the same guide that we had before. We're going to elevate to 45 above the horizontal 90. We are over directing everything to center front at this point in time. And then once we are at center front, elevating up to 45 above the horizontal 90. There's my guide. I can see it. I wait for it to drop out. My finger angle is going to be shorter at the top and longer at the bottom. And we're going to come in and readjust as we go, just peeling away that hair so that Erica has a cute little curtain fringe on her Bixie. All right. And now we can release and just comb the hair into place. So look at how cute this little curtain fringe is. Got just a beautiful little curtain fringe right here so that we are able to wear it slightly to the side if she wants to, or we can wear it split in the center as well. So that is the Bixie cut. We are so excited to be able to share this with you. I'm going to bring back my little benchmark really quickly so you can see some of the things and how this haircut actually moves. So first of all, what I want us to be aware of is that we are going to start in the nape and move towards the front. And as we're moving towards the front, this one just has a slightly longer curtain fringe. That's all. So as we're cutting the nape down here was cut first, and it is detached from the rest of the haircut. Everything else kind of falls over and starts to move around and stay nice and soft. Remember, we have our little ears cut out over directed front, and those are also detached or disconnected so that it gives us the ability to move and play a little bit, and great versatility there with styling. And then look, let's show you. The movement there is great. Great movement right there. And you cannot tell that it is detached. Can't tell that it's detached at all. It visually blends, remember. All right. What questions do you all have as we're at the top of the hour right now?
I think you did such a great job of answering them as we went through that. I mean, and this was by far, I think, one of the most perfectly thorough explanations you've ever done on a haircut. I mean, this was so crisp, so clear. Absolutely incredible.
Thank you so much. It was great to be able to spend time with everybody today. Make sure that you check out that Samvia razor or the streamlined shears. They are definite tools that you should have in your tool bag.
Absolutely. And I love seeing the 90s come back and the return of, these shapes that we were so familiar with, putting our age here on the line. It's so weird to think that that was how many years ago? A long time ago.
Oh my gosh, 30 years now?
Oh,
No.
shit. I mean,
No.
shoot.
No.
No. Well, Becca, thank you so very much. As you can see by the chat, just an absolute fantastic job. Everyone really enjoyed this. If you missed any part of it, remember you can always go back and rewatch, and you can always reach out to Becca at the Instagram handle that you see here on the screen, and she will be back for more education soon.